Hello my dear friends and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Joycey Joy and today in this lecture we will discuss about the Protection of Human Rights Amendment Bill of 2019. So let us first move on to the current affair. So if we analyze the current affair, we will see that the Protection of Human Rights Amendment Bill 2019 was recently passed in the Lok Sabha, and the bill amends the Protection of Human Rights of 1993. The original act is of 1993, that is the Protection of Human Rights Act. So we will discuss about what is this act all about and what are the amendments proposed. So we will discuss all this in detail in this lecture. So let us start. But before that, I'll tell you how this is important from your UPSC perspective. So from your UPSC perspective, this is important both from your prelims as well as your mains examination point of view. From your prelims examination point of view, how this becomes important is the various provisions of the act and also the composition of the chairperson and other members, like what is the composition of the bodies like NHRC, National Human Rights Commission, State Human Rights Commission. The composition of these bodies become very important for your preliminary examination point of view. Now, if you have seen the previous year questions of UPSC Civil Services Preliminary Examination, you will have an idea how UPSC frames questions regarding certain important acts or certain provisions, certain policies, etc. So I recommend you to go to the previous year question papers of UPSC and have a thorough analysis of how the questions are asked. Now, from your mains perspective, this is very, very important. Especially, you will have to provide analysis of certain amendments. Why this amendment is made? Is it justified? Or what is the rationale of the government? What is your opinion on it? Or what are your suggestions to improve the working of human rights commissions? All these questions become a potential question for your UPSC mains examination. Now, if we talk about your interview, again, certain amendments, certain acts or certain proposals by the government, policies, etc. become a question, and UPSC interview board would definitely like to know your opinion, your suggestion and your take on such topics. So such type of acts and amendments are very important, and today we are going to discuss about the Protection of Human Rights Amendment Bill. So this is a very important act. The 1993 original act of human rights protection is very, very important. Therefore, this is a very important topic for any examination point of view, especially the UPSC examination. So let us start. Let us start with understanding the act in brief. So the Act of 1993, the Protection of Human Rights Act of 1993, the act provides for NHRC, SHRC and human rights courts. So let us see what is NHRC. NHRC is National Human Rights Commission. We will later in this lecture see what is the composition of NHRC, and SHRC is State Human Rights Commission. So NHRC works at the national level, whereas the SHRC works at the state level. Now, there are also human rights courts for the settlement of issues regarding human rights. So these are the three bodies which were created under the original Act of 1993 for the protection of human rights. Now, moving on, let us understand what are the provisions of the Act of 1993. First one is regarding the composition of NHRC or the National Human Rights Commission. So the Act mandates that the chairperson of the commission, that is the head of the commission, National Human Rights Commission, should be a person who has been a Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. So a previous CJI or a Chief Justice of India can become the chairman or the chairperson of the commission. And the original act also provides that along with the chairperson, two more persons who are having knowledge about the human rights can become the members of NHRC. So along with the chairman or the chairperson who is a former CJI or the Chief Justice of India, two eminent persons having special knowledge about the human rights can become the members of National Human Rights Commission. Now, along with all of these, that is the three members, CJI, a former CJI who becomes the chairperson, along with two eminent persons, other members of the National Human Rights Commission comprises of chairpersons of different bodies like the National Commission for Scheduled Caste, for Scheduled Tribes, National Commission for Women, etc. So this is the composition of National Human Rights Commission. Now coming to SHRC, that is State Human Rights Commission. So the chairperson of the State Human Rights Commission has to be a person or a former Chief Justice of a High Court. So at the national level, a former CJI or a Chief Justice of India can become the chairperson of the National Human Rights Commission, whereas when it comes to State Human Rights Commission, a former High Court Chief Justice can become the chairperson. So such statements are very important. So these all questions can be asked in your preliminary examination in the form of statement based questions. Now if we talk about the term of the office of NHRC and SHRC, the chairperson and the members of NHRC and SHRC will hold office for 5 years or until they achieve or they complete the age of 70 years, whichever is earlier. Now if we talk about the reappointment, the original Act of 1993 provides for reappointment of the members of both NHRC and SHRC for a period of 5 years. So this is regarding the term of office of the members and the chairperson. Now let us come to the Secretary General, the powers of the Secretary General. Now the Act provides for a Secretary General. Secretary General is for NHRC and a secretary has been provided for SHRC. So the powers of the secretary and the Secretary General has to be delegated. So these secretary and the Secretary General would enjoy the powers as delegated to them. So this is the provision and the composition, term of office and the powers of Secretary General and Secretary. Now let us come to the proposed amendments. So the amendment, first one is regarding the composition of the NHRC. Now in the original act we have seen that only a former CJI can become the chairperson of the NHRC. Now the proposed amendment says that not only a former Chief Justice of India but also a judge who has served as a Supreme Court judge can become the chairperson of the NHRC. Now along with the CJI, now this post of chairperson of NHRC is open to any Supreme Court judge, any former Supreme Court judge. So this is the first one. And now in the original act we have seen that along with the chairperson, two eminent persons who has special knowledge on human rights would also become the members of the NHRC. So this amendment bill provides that 3 members can be appointed and at least 1 member should be women. Earlier it was 2 members. Now it has been increased to 3 and 1 has to be compulsorily women. So this is the amendment. Now coming to the members of the NHRC. So earlier we have seen that 3 chairpersons of different bodies, Scheduled Caste Commission, the Commission for Scheduled Tribes and the Commission for Women. These 3 were the members of the NHRC. Now this has also been expanded. Now along with the National Commission for Scheduled Caste, Scheduled Tribes and National Commission for Women, the National Commission for Backward Classes, the Commission for the Protection of Child Rights and also the Chief Commissioner for Persons with Disabilities. These 3 members are also added in the amended bill. Now second amendment is regarding the chairperson of the SHRC, that is State Human Rights Commission. Earlier, a person who has been a former Chief Justice of the High Court could become the chairperson of the SHRC. Now this is open to any former judge of the High Court. Not only the Chief Justice of the High Court but any judge who has served as a High Court judge can become the chairperson of this SHRC. Now third amendment is regarding the term of office. We have earlier seen that the term of office was 5 years or 70 years, whichever is earlier. Now the term of office has been reduced in the bill and the term of office is 3 years or until 70 years. So the term of office is reduced. Now we have seen that in the original acts there was a provision for reappointment for 5 years. So this provision for reappointment for up to 5 years has also been removed in the bill. Now fourth amendment is regarding the powers of the Secretary General. So this bill allows the Secretary General and the Secretary to handle all the administrative and financial powers except all the judicial powers subject to the respective chairperson's control. So it provides for wider scope or wider powers to the Secretary General and the Secretary. Earlier the powers had to be delegated. Now all the administrative and the financial powers within the jurisdiction of the the chairperson falls under the secretary and the secretary general, except all the judicial powers. Now, coming to the union territories. So, the bill provides that the central government can confer on a SHRC, that is State Human Rights Commission, the human rights functions being discharged by union territories. And regarding the union territory of Delhi, the NHRC or the National Human Rights Commission will be handling the human rights issues in Delhi. So these are the amendments made in the bill. And as I said in the beginning, this is a very important act, and also therefore this amendment becomes very important for your examination point of view. You can find the PDF of this lecture on our website www.studyiq.com. Thank you.